Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farooq Patafi. Once again we are going to talk about Pakistan's politics, especially because it seems that while the government is doing whatever it is doing, the opposition seems to be organizing itself. 2 days ago, Asif Ali Zardari spoke a lot. Very aggressive tones were used, and there were statements made regarding the future of the government, accountability system, the country's state of affairs. And then today, Mia Nawaz Sharif and Shehbaz Sharif co-chaired a meeting. There too, the language was very aggressive. And then PMLN has decided to launch a mass contact movement by the end of the month. What exactly does it mean? How exactly is it going to affect the situation is one thing. On the other side, when you talk about the economic indicators, we see the yo-yo-like situation in the stock exchange. One day it is very high, the next day it goes down. Usually stock exchanges are supposed to behave in that manner, but not this dramatically. They are supposed to find some even keel positions where they can actually, between which they can oscillate. So what exactly is happening? Economy is an important component of everything. The government actually promised that it is going to start delivering. It seems that media is not ready to cut the government any slack. Similarly, when it comes to opposition, whatever the motives might be, they are also very critical. We are going to talk about this and many other things in the program. In order to help us understand these issues, we are joined by Anwarul Haq Kakar Saab, who is Senator of Balochistan Awami Party, a government ally. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Next to him is Madam Sitara Ayaz, who is Senator of Awami National Party. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being part of the program. Next to her is Zulkarnain Shah Saab, who is representing PTI here. We will try to take on board beepers or phoners from PMLN and People's Party as well as we progress in the program. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program, and ma'am. Kakar Sahab, I have to start with you. Do you think that opposition sees an opportunity and it is trying to exploit that?
Well, thank you so much, Patafi, for having me on this show. My own assessment is that I don't think so they are seizing the moment. I think so they are jumping into prematurely to a conclusion.
Okay.
And they are not correctly reading the timing of the situation.
Okay. What exactly is the timing of the situation right now?
I mean, we down the line, the government is 4 months new, or 5 months, whatever the timeline is. And they have not picked on any issue which is directly related to the masses of Pakistan. They are not trying to mobilize the public opinion on price hike. They are not trying
Asif Ali Zardari sort of talked about demolition in Karachi, and he talked about a couple of other things as well.
Well, you can't insult the intelligence of the people. I mean, they do understand that the accountability drive is haunting them. And as it is approaching, the language is becoming more harsher. The stance is becoming more harsher. So people could easily judge that it is not coming from the so-called demolition or any other issue. It is primarily that accountability driven agenda of the PTI government which is haunting them. And that would reinforce the narrative of the PTI when they used to say that they have done reconciliation in the politics of Pakistan, and PMLN and PPP basically.
Okay.
They join hands for loot and plunder. Whether that is correct or not, but that narrative would be more reinforced if they pick up on a mass movement against the government.
Right. I see your point, and the fact that Asif Ali Zardari was speaking at Hyderabad, where I didn't see that large a crowd, actually bails your position out. Let me go to Senator Sahiba. Ma'am, you're allies of both the parties in opposition. What are they doing? And why is ANP itself silent? Why are you not joining their ranks? And is there a possibility of a joint opposition?
No, we are a part of a joint opposition, and ANP is not silent.
Theoretically, theoretical joint opposition. Otherwise, People's Party actually has its own agenda. PMLN has
yes,
its own.
but inside the parliament, they are almost, I mean, their agenda is the same. And I think that ANP, we stress this thing on and off, and we do had meetings with both the parties, PMLN and People's Party, and we want them that they should join hands as opposition, because if they are not coming up as a strong opposition, they are giving a free hand to the government, and they are free whatever they want to do. So right now I agree that the opposition is not a real opposition.
So you are saying
both the
that
parties, but we are trying. ANP is not silent. Actually,
they are giving the government leeway to operate. This is what you are saying.
Yes, this is what we feel, that they are not acting as a real opposition right now.
Okay.
But yesterday, the Zardari Sahib talking with when he was talking with the press at Hyderabad, and today Mian Nawaz Sharif, it seems that soon they are going to be at one point agenda.
They don't
I
seem
hope.
to have joint equities. I don't see that happening. Because PMLN speaks of something else, People's Party seems to have its own mind.
This is what happened the past 4 months, and we witnessed that.
And it is going to change
Actually,
now?
if you start from Chairman Senate election, then the Speaker election, and then the Prime Minister.
Right.
It all like they are. They have a separate issues which they are taking,
And
but
while one understands what Mian Nawaz Sharif or Shehbaz Sharif might be doing, one doesn't understand what exactly is Asif Ali Zardari's endgame. But we are going to talk about that. Let me bring in Shaji, Zulkarnain Shaji. Your take on one simple question. Why is your government giving opposition the opportunities to reorganize itself?
First of all, Patafi sir, we should condemn the action of the security guard of the Mian Nawaz Sharif.
Okay.
And I think it's not a action of the security guard, but it's the attitude of the
Yeah,
leader.
let me, now that you have mentioned, let me point it out on air. Today, Mian Nawaz Sharif had to go to the Parliament houses, and there, Parliament House, and there his security guard manhandled and physically sort of brutalized one cameraman, and that was really, really sad, as has been pointed out by Shaji. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Secondly, Patafi, PTI is not giving opportunity to the opposition. It is opposition. If you look at the
That finds an opportunity?
it's a look at the opportunity. What type of the opportunity they are taking?
Okay.
It's not a national issue.
Inflation?
No, it's not an issue.
Demolition in Karachi?
They are raising. Basically, it's a nexus between the PML and the PPP. This
Yeah,
is a loot-
people understand that point of yours.
That's a
But
loot and a plunder.
Are you telling me that all the promises, lofty promises that you made have been delivered, fulfilled?
First, I'm telling you that why this nexus is going to be built up.
Okay.
This is only to save and secure the looted and plundering the money of the nation. It's a common agenda of the Noon and PTI, and because Zardari Sahib is a very sensible man, he's very
Who is?
Asif Ali Zardari. He's
Okay.
a good politician.
Right, sir. I have to take a break, and then I come back, and I'm going to come back to that sanity and that discussion. We have to take a quick break. Don't go away.
clean water for your future generation, environment, plants, animals for a healthy and enjoyable life on this planet.
Book is life. Book is hope. And book is light for the future.
Welcome back. Before going to the break, we were discussing the current political situation. Zulkarnain Shah was telling us about how sane Asif Ali Zardari Sahab is, and I'm coming back to him. Sir, with due respect, there seems to be some kind of thaw in your attitude as well, your parties. You're not the first one today who is actually praising Asif Ali Zardari Sahab. Is there something going on?
I'm not praising his genius. I'm
Okay.
praising the evil genius of Asif Ali Zardari.
Okay.
He is a more genius. He's more genius than the Mian Nawaz Sharif, and he can smell.
He's smart, you are saying.
He's smart politician. He knows what is going to be happen.
And Mian Nawaz Sharif, not so much.
Comparatively, you can say.
Okay.
But in the corruption, when you come at the corruption, then
I don't have anybody to defend from their side. So
then you will have to give us some marks to more than Mian Nawaz Sharif rather than to the Asif Ali Zardari, because he's a corporate man and he
okay, you have told us that why exactly is the opposition coming together or getting active? They might have their own interest, but why is it that the government comes under so much criticism from the media, from bystanders also these days?
from the last 20 years, from the start of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf always exposed the nexus between the two parties. We always said that there are two parts of the coin.
Not coming to the area that I'm pointing out. Governance, service delivery, economy seems to be still struggling, right?
Yeah.
There are many other things that haven't been actually fulfilled right now. So is the opposition not within its right to say that since you are taking some time, that's why they have the right to...
I was listening the speech of Mr. Asif Ali Zardari, and he was comparing his 100 days and our 100 days.
Okay.
And he was telling the nation that in our 100 days, what we did, they did. He was saying that
Pervez Musharraf
Musharraf and all other credit. But what is our credit? In the first 100 days, we get rid of the Mian Nawaz Sharif and Shehbaz Sharif, and in 100 days, coming 100 days, we will get rid, inshallah, from the Asif Ali Zardari.
Okay, that's quite interesting. But coming back to you, Kakar Sahab, the question now is, we know that Public Accounts Committee chairmanship has been settled. That issue is no more there. Last time we spoke, we discussed that. Now the issue is of the standing committees, and we have heard that the opposition parties have refused to take leadership of secondary, they call it, secondary issues, for example, science and technology, statistics, others, and that your government is not ready to offer them chairmanship of any standing committee of consequence.
There is a standard practice in the parliamentary politics when it comes to the oversight of the standing committees.
Okay.
Usually it is agreed upon both the treasury benches and the opposition benches, and certain departments, for instance defense and foreign affairs, usually they go to the treasury benches.
Okay.
And the people from the treasury benches, they keep an oversight on them. And I do not see that big a challenge of these standing committees, because in my opinion, Public Accounts Committee was more important role.
And let me point it out that whatever you said, actually, the government has done exactly that, and this is how things have progressed. You said that there is no harm in conceding this seat, and the government has conceded it.
Yes, that is for all the practical realist politics, you have to do it.
Right.
And that's what they have done, so that the parliament can function.
Okay.
And if, for instance, they deviate from the normal, from the norm, then the blame would lie at the door of the opposition.
Right.
that they do not want the parliament to function in a smooth manner, or for primarily which the people of Pakistan have given mandate to them.
Right.
It won't be wise on their part
Okay.
to create an obstacle.
Right. Kakar Sahab, then why is it taking so long to form those committees? They are very important, right?
Of course, for the oversight purpose, they are important, and they
And
should
debate
start
also. Yeah.
functioning, and they should look into how the government is functioning and all the relevant departments. This is again my hunch. I don't have information on that, but I think so. Opposition is not that much interested in the functioning of this parliament. They are more obsessed with their own agendas, which is very clear to everyone.
When you
They are
talk about
stuck.
opposition, you include her party as well.
Well, I primarily am talking about PMLN and PPP.
But
because they have
ANP
got,
also?
Well, ANP does not have those kind of issues.
Okay.
But PMLN and PPP's leadership are facing very serious charges of corruption in this country.
Right, that is true.
Few of them they are convicted, and few of them they are facing convictions.
Right.
in
That
the
is
due process. So that seems an obsession for them, rather than the functionality of the parliament.
That's a fair point. And Sitara Ayaz Sahaba, why is it that opposition is not interested in the parliamentary business?
Well, it's a question which we are also asking them, being a part of opposition.
Okay.
As I said earlier, that we are trying that both the parties, they should come up as a real opposition, and they should.
But stopping
but
of
still we
blocking
are
standing committees formation, that is opposition's job. They do it well.
yes.
They keep on blocking it.
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. They are
Today
actually.
they denied it, actually.
Yeah,
They said
yes, but I
they
don't
don't
think so.
need
They
seats.
are. But first, I would like to actually answer Shaji what he
Yeah,
said.
please go ahead.
That he said that in 100 days they now they get rid of Nawaz Sharif, and in coming they will get rid of. But Shaji, that was not in your 100 days agenda. Actually, this is what we are always saying,
That's
that why
a very
why
good point, basically.
yes, why only Nawaz Sharif and Zardari? That is it seems that this is only aim of this government. The rest, you don't care about what is happening in the country.
Right.
In 100 days, it's only your Prime Minister in his policy speech. He stood up and he talked about such a petty issues, which I think that economically maybe it's viable or maybe it's good, like chicken and murgi and anda. But this
It isn't a
should
petty
be.
issue, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
It is not a petty issue.
No, I mean,
Bill Gates actually
No,
gifted
le-
Bolivia truckloads. Actually,
no, I don't agree with this.
shiploads of chicken.
I myself work as my background is from a development sector. So I know that it is important, it is for your economy that if you start. But as a Prime Minister, when you are giving your policy speech, or if you are telling your people, when people are very serious, like they want you to hear something very serious thing from. I'm
so
not
what
saying
you are
I'm not
saying is
against
Prime
of this.
Minister has to have a speech writer.
No, he must have. And he should avoid to come to the press all the time. Like once in a week he is there.
No,
and
but leading
he's-
from the front is thought to be a good idea.
Right now, I think he is not, whenever he speaks, he
Yeah,
needs
okay.
someone to write his speech.
Before you-
Otherwise, I think he shouldn't come every week to the press
Or
and talk.
unprepared. what you mean,
Unprepared.
right.
He is always unprepared, yes.
Zulkarnain Shaji, the question now is that other parties might have actually delivered, or they might not have delivered on 100 days agenda, but none of them actually ran an election campaign based on the promise that in 100 days they will be able to deliver. And now we are saying, whenever we have discussion, that 100 days is not quite a good time to judge a government's performance. You didn't see it coming?
We all know that 100 days was the policy making days. It was not the policy implementation days.
Okay.
As Senator Sahaba was telling that,
So
Why-
you mean that now we know that housing society or project that you are going to actually establish,
Yeah.
what will be the financial sources of that project?
yes.
Kindly enlighten us.
Sure. First, I want to give a reply. She was saying that why only corruption and corruption and corruption.
No. Why
Sir,
only Nawaz Sharif
Only
and
Nawaz
Zardari?
Sharif and Zardari. Okay.
Not corruption.
Okay, only Nawaz Sharif and Zardari. Why?
It must be something conscious that whenever you mention the two, he hears corruption.
And why not ANP? Why not the other leaders?
No, I'm
why
not saying-
Why not the opposition, other
why
opposition?
not your people?
Because our people are facing. Because if you look at your economic scene at the macro level, you are under debt of the around about above $90 billion.
Okay.
And where that money has gone?
Yeah, but
Number one.
Shaji, you can renegotiate the past, but you have to talk about the future.
No.
Yes, in the present.
What was the real problem, and what is the real
No, but
what is the real
do you
problem?
think this question, if answered, is going to bring all the money on its own? No, it is not.
I'm not saying it. But what is the Pakistan problem? Pakistan problem is that due to the lack of the governance, lack of a commitment, lack of a political will of the parliamentarians,
previous government, yeah.
and the corruption of these two mega gains. What they did in the last 15 years, don't we know exactly what they did? As Asif Zardari was saying that what we did in the last 11 years, they are governing the Sindh in the 11th year, and
Yeah.
look at the picture of the Karachi and Ladkhan and Hyderabad and all interior
It is
Sindh.
dismal. It is
So
dismal.
doesn't
But
it look
regardless, two wrongs never make a right.
Yeah.
They might not have delivered, but your party actually promises that it is
Sir,
the
we-
delivering
sir,
kind.
we are fighting at the three fronts: interior, country situation, macroeconomic and microeconomic; second, foreign policy; and third is the corruption.
So was every government.
Yeah.
I mean, I can talk about corruption. It might not be a big
are
issue.
you not,
but
sir?
the rest of the two were there.
Are you
and the foreign policy challenges is the third aspect. That is also there.
Whether both senator will not give us the mark on the foreign policy, what we did in the at the eastern border and the western border.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Why not? Why won't you give them marks?
Which one? You're talking about...
Kartarpur border.
Kartarpur
It's
and
not your
then
one, it was-
Afghanistan also.
And
What
now,
happened to
and now-
Afghanistan?
And now,
They
and
have
now,
Dialogue has
stopped it.
started.
and now they will
They're
say that
welcoming it.
now they will say that the foreign policy is controlled by some other.
No, I'm not saying this.
No,
This
she
is what
won't.
maybe
So that-
this
Don't
is what
sec-
you are
that-
thinking.
Never second guess
That
her.
time has gone. That time has gone when the foreign policy
This is
was
what you are
controlled by
thinking,
someone other.
might be. I didn't say anything.
So, what we did in the 100 days, your nation should be at the proud that your eastern border now is a safe from the Kartarpur and the
Yeah,
your
but
western.
still
and-
the foreign
and
policy
now-
challenges are there,
and-
sir,
and-
with due respect,
and
and
now-
there are big issues.
And now-
Speaking of macro situation, on foreign policy front, there are many issues that we still have to reconcile and solve. Is it not true?
It's a
But a voter doesn't vote on foreign policy. They do it on the price of gas, petrol, and how they are going to get all the amenities they have been promised.
So, to meet these challenges, therefore, we are focusing on two agendas. First, to stop the corruption, to stop the leverages, to stop the whatever the loopholes of the economy, and number two, to bring the
Foreign
confidence of the international investor to bring back the money. Now, your Russia, your Chinese, your Turkish, and your Western investors are coming to the Pakistan, and you will see that if
Yeah,
you will-
but
if
again, when you're talking about investors coming, then you have to talk about investment at the upper level and then trickle down effect. I wonder how much time is it going to take, because you yourself were talking in terms of days, not months, not years. Allow me to go to Kakar Saab. You want to reflect on what was said?
In my opinion, I think so. As far as the so-called drive against the corruption is concerned, it's very important. It's very important, not that you have to dwell in the past, or the people would argue that how much money they would bring in. For me, it is more important that how much money in future would be secure to go out.
Right, right.
You need a deterrence for the people who are presently in the government.
Okay.
So for instance, if I'm a minister in the government and I see that nothing is happening to the corrupt practices of the past, I will have all the incentive to indulge myself in those practices. So there has to be a lawful deterrence.
Okay.
So for that matter, in that
For
context,
you
it's
need
very
laws.
important.
But for that you need laws,
That's-
rather than stipulation about how much money has been wasted in the past or has been stolen.
No, not at all. This is what I'm trying to explain. That according to the law, NAB is moving. NAB is a constitutional body.
It is.
And it has its own rules and procedures, and all the procedures are being implemented and followed. And so Some of them have been convicted from the
I'm
courts.
glad you mentioned NAB because you just conceded the PAC seat to Shehbaz Sharif,
Yeah.
who is being investigated by NAB itself, right?
Yeah.
Is it not true that Chairman Standing Committee, Public Accounts Committee can summon Chairman NAB?
Well, in principle, he can. Yes.
So you have just
principle-
empowered the very man
This is-
who shouldn't have been empowered.
I mean, this is what the quagmire was, this is what the challenge was, this is what we were pointing out earlier, that this is a unique position in which we should not concede to it.
Okay.
But as opposition was putting a toe to the function of the parliament, so as a political realism, you had to show flexibility and compromise on that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that people are now bringing it out in the public domain that our moral position and our principal position was vindicated.
Yeah, but
That's
you
why
have made
we-
a concession in
well,
any case.
Well, there were
What
two
happens
options.
if Chairman
Let-
NAB is summoned?
Let-
What will you do?
Even if the chairman NAB is summoned before the Public Accounts Committee, he won't be summoned before an Caesar or an emperor. He is someone who would be guided again by the laws, and according to the law, if the chairman Senate has not behaved or acted, then let him face the music. And if he has, then no one on earth can undo what he has done
Right.
in his constitutional role. So let it come in a very normal way, which unfortunately in past we have not practiced, but let this practice now start again.
Right.
And now I'll point out something about the foreign policy also.
Right.
I think so there is a lot of progress on the foreign policy front also. The 17 years old insurgency in Afghanistan, which has deeply affected Pakistan society at large, its all institutions, its masses, you just name it, any section of the society has suffered deeply from it. And unfortunately, we were not the architects of that war. We were just a junior partner, willingly or unwillingly joined that international coalition.
Yeah.
And that military campaign was leading nowhere. There was no exit policy and there was no end to it. And I would give credit here to the Prime Minister that from day one, he at least had a political stance, and he always advocated that in that situation, you need a political settlement, a political dialogue, and there is no military solution to that.
That's true.
Now,
And his
the-
position has been vindicated now.
his position has been vindicated, and the entire ISF and the NATO forces has changed their position. We have not changed the position. They have changed the
Because they
position.
have changed their government as well. Donald Trump now believes that he doesn't need to spend any money.
It's their domestic issue, and they have to decide on that. But they have come to this conclusion, and now Pakistan has got again a relevance in the international arena.
I hope we are able to sustain it as well. In the past, we had the problem. We did mighty things. We defeated the Soviet Union in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
We defeated Al Qaeda also. But we cannot actually sustain this goodwill that is generated.
Well, I agree that we do not capitalize on the opportunities we receive and we get,
Right,
unfortunately. But yes, this time
It might change.
Well, we should. I mean, this is high
That's a
time. This
fair
is the
point.
71
But I have to,
years of our life.
I have to go back to Sitara Yah Sahiba and I have to ask her about Public Accounts Committee again. Do you see this contradiction, Sitara Yah Sahiba? Somebody being prosecuted by a very important body can now summon that person in a position which is slightly diminished than the chairman himself. Do you see the irony of this situation?
Oh, well, it's actually a practice like before also that the leader of opposition has to be the
Yeah. So why
chairman
did you
of,
pick him as a leader of opposition if he's being investigated?
at that time he was not.
He was.
He was at that time. I don't
there
think
was
so. He
investigation going on.
Yeah, but he
two
but
gentlemen
still,
were already
but
behind
he
the
is,
bars.
He's not convicted yet.
Yeah, he's
A-
not.
And he is not in many cases they said that there is no proof against him.
But again,
But-
here's the problem. If somebody is being, held
but
accountable
I
in the
think, yeah.
Supreme Court, will you make that person head of a committee that oversees the judicial reform in the country?
Well, but that is the government when they were saying that. Why didn't the government took stand then?
No, the
Why-
government kept on
why-
taking a
why
stand.
didn't
Prime
they-
Minister
why didn't
repeatedly
they
said
take-
it.
take? Why
but
didn't they
why
take the
didn't the
stand?
opposition take a stand?
No,
Bilawal
opposition.
Bhutto Zardari is offered that job
Yeah,
and he doesn't take
I'm not from their party. I'm not defending any of them.
Why didn't your
but,
party
But
demand
yes, being a part of opposition, we did actually support this, that he has to be head of public account committee.
So
but he is
party
act-
interest before
no,
the
no,
public
no,
interest?
no. It is in a public interest also. Let me explain that. If there is any conflict, which I doubt it, if there will be any, because the chairman must be knowing what is his limits, and the chairman NAB also, he knows also what. So I think there will be no problem. I don't see any
What
problem
are the
in that.
limitations there?
They have, according to the constitution, they
Chairman
have to move.
PAC has subpoena powers, and then he can summon the person,
Yes.
and then he can grill somebody.
Yes,
Who
he
is
can,
investigating
but
him?
No, but no,
Irony.
no. There are members also of the PSC.
Yeah, but
They will
chairman
be
is chairman.
Well, yeah, but they will be sitting there. The media will be there. I don't think so. They can.
The
he
opposition
can.
should have taken a
and I would
position
like to, yeah, I would
according to
like
its conscience.
I would like to say one thing on the same issue, which Senator
Foreign
Saab-
policy?
Foreign policy. This is the point for Afghanistan. We were the one who said this like years back. Now they are praising the Prime Minister, but at that time when we were talking the same thing, what the Prime Minister said.
Talk to Taliban?
No, not talk to Taliban. When now what the Prime Minister said, that we will not be a part of any war, and that was wrong when we were. The same thing
But
we were
your
saying
party
the
was
same.
very silent.
At that time,
Hang on.
at that
Your party
time they
was
said-
very silent when Pervez Musharraf was in government and when Afghan
No,
war
we,
was being waged.
No, we were not.
I remember
we were not silent.
Aswan Yar
We-
Wali Saab actually saying that the government is doing good things.
No, we were not. I think
I
that,
remember.
No,
I've
no,
seen
no,
his
no.
videos.
We are always against this thing, this war. That why
This war?
the war in
Or
Afghanistan.
Afghan jihad.
When we were a part of that thing, we
You
were
were-
against that thing. That what will happen to Afghanistan after when they leave, when the same thing is happening
Then we have to
now.
compare notes
But,
on that.
Yes.
And I have to bring the discussion back to the politics in the parliament. And Shaji, you talk a lot of game, and then you concede Public Accounts Committee chairmanship to the opposition, especially a man. I mean, I don't have any anything personal against him. I respect him like any other leader. My concern is, on one side he's being prosecuted. On the other side, you have just gifted him this chair.
As you say, that it's an irony of the time, and
Remember, let me remind you that you are in government now.
unfortunately,
You can't talk about irony of time.
it's a joke of the current democratic problem, but it is, and we have to accept it.
Current
but-
democratic problem.
But we
Qualify that problem.
but we still not forget the Public Account Committee chairman slogan that if anybody prove one dela corruption on me and I will leave the politics. So and still we didn't forget his claim that Ali Baba Chalis Chor and Asif Ali Zardari and the other game. Unfortunately, Pakistan is facing in the panorama of the democracy, and so you have to accept that he is because he is opposition leader, and it depends upon the opposition that whether they select his
So
leadership.
why did you take so much
And
time?
when-
You should have conceded before.
And Senator
At
Saraswat-
least you would have had
And I think-
PAC standing committees and perhaps some goodwill with the opposition.
I think Senator Saibak can tell you very in a better position that why ANP and other sensible opposition leaders and opposition parliamentarians, why they select opposition leader Mia
I mean,
Shahbaz Sharif
they
when they
didn't
know
have the
And
number.
why
when
you
know-
accepted
They didn't
it?
have the number.
Why you accepted it? You are in the majority.
we
Okay. Right, I'm told Kamar Zaman Khaira Sahab, leader of Pakistan People's Party, has joined us on telephone. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Sir, regarding Asif Ali Zardari Sahab's speech yesterday and what we have been hearing from opposition, what exactly is People's Party's course of action going to be in coming days, sir?
People's Party's course of action is very simple, Patavi Saab. What Asif Ali Zardari said yesterday, day before yesterday, and today. It's the same thing which we are saying since the time of Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto Shahid, since the time of ZFB, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto Shahid. What we are saying? We are saying that all the state institutions should work according to the trichotomy defined in the Constitution of Pakistan. In Pakistan, yes, there is overdoing of institutions. There is intervention in the elections. Everyone says it, not only People's Party, all the political parties, even including the members who lost the election of the PTI, they are saying the same thing. And we are saying that the parliament should function. Let the parliament be elected with the independent review of the people, and then let the parliament make its decision. Let the parliament make its comments itself, not by external forces, which is a history of Pakistan. That's the thing which we are in principally we are saying all the time. And also, we are requesting the judiciary. We have all the regards for judiciary. We have all the respect for judges. But the power given to the judiciary by the parliament, by the constitution, does not mean that the judiciary should go beyond an extra mile and they should take over the executive power. If there is anything wrong
Kara
with
Sahab,
the way
I'm glad that you mentioned. Kara Sahab, I'm glad that you mentioned Parliament's function and its importance. Does it mean that in coming days, when the government is going to table bills on national interest or perhaps public interest when it comes to judicial reforms and other laws of the same sort, you are going to support them, sir?
Mr. Patafi, this is very clear. When the government hold the parliament by not constituting the committees of the parliament, and they were adamant not to appoint or not to clear the name of Mr. Shehbaz Sharif as Chairman PSC, even then we were saying that please don't hesitate, come forward, bring the laws, bring legislation which will be the pro-people and in the benefit of the people of Pakistan, for stability of the system, for welfare of the people. We will support it. We are bound to support. And if any party who will not support it, that will be exposed. There's no political party who can afford it. But the government itself saying, no, we don't have the majority. And the Prime Minister, in his statements, in his interviews, he said we'll go for legislation by ordinances, which was a joke. Because legislation through ordinances is not possible. It's a stopgap arrangement, a very small window for legislation, only for those times when the parliament or the assemblies are not in session. But
one more
Like we
question,
said,
sir,
this is
regarding
not-
Public
this is
Accounts
not a
Committee, because you
way of
mentioned
legislation and we do
Chairman
not
Public
allow it.
Accounts Committee, the post going to Shehbaz Sharif Saab. The question at this moment, and we were reflecting on this irony, that on one side he is accountable, he's being prosecuted by NAB, investigated by NAB, and now in his current position, Shehbaz Sharif Saab can call in, call Chairman NAB to a meeting of Public Accounts Committee. Is it not ironic, sir?
Look, one thing, if it happens, no one will accept it. Everyone will agitate on it, and I don't think so that there will be any instance. And Chairman NAB is an autonomous position. The PSC never called him. I don't think that it will be a precedent in the future as well. But as far as Shehbaz Sharif's appointment is concerned, he is just alleged. He is not convicted. So if allegation is concerned, and there is investigation against him, there is investigation against the Prime Minister for misuse of the helicopter. If the allegation is merely allegation is enough, then the defense minister is under allegation. Then there are many ministers under allegation of NAB, and there are investigations over there. So also
They cannot summon the Chairman NAB, sir. This was the only problem. Kamar Zuma Kara Sahab, thank you very much, sir, for your time. I have to come back to the studio and I have to ask Kakar Sahab to actually comment on whatever was said. Because somehow it seems that investigation of the Prime Minister, apples and oranges are being mixed here. Is it not true?
Well, again, I would say that
The allegations against Shehbaz Sharif Saab are really huge.
they are indeed, and he's no doubt currently being investigated, not convicted. But even if you are being investigated in the civilized political norm and in the liberal democracies, people usually resign from the positions of the public offices. That is the standard practice.
Yeah, at
But
least this is what happened in
unfortunately-
your party. Many people have actually resigned because of that. The parliamentary minister, advisor on parliamentary
Yes,
affairs.
Mr. Babar Awan.
Babar
and-
Awan and a
yes,
couple of others as
Yes,
well.
not our party, but our allied party.
No, I was
Yeah.
talking about your government.
Yes, government. So, yes, they have done that, and they have set that precedent. I would have loved to see that Mr. Shahbaz Sharif should have volunteered that I am not the candidate for the PAC's chairmanship, and he should have brought anyone in. There are a lot of competent and good people in the opposition, and they could have done the job.
Yeah.
And when he would have been done with the investigation, he could have reclaimed that
And
position.
this is the point you made that day also when we last spoke. But sir, one last thing, because Khaira Saab has also indicated that if you bring in laws for public interest, they are going to support. How confident are you that now you will be able to table and pass the judicial reform package that we have been hearing about, and how soon to expect that?
My own intuition is, I'm not privy to the information, that in the coming sessions you would see progress on legislative business.
Okay.
As the things have been set, the policies have been introduced, and now we are in the implementing phase. This government has the mandate for 5 years, and
Yeah.
for 5 years they have got all the constitutional right to govern this country.
Yeah.
And do the legislative
But
business.
numerically, they don't have the kind of number in the parliament.
For
so
the
they need-
legislation.
yeah,
For the legislation.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking about the executive part, the legislative business, I think so. The government and the opposition both would have a very serious challenge before the people of Pakistan if they, any party, bring in any sort of resistance for the pro-people legislation, be it for judicial reforms or be it in another area, they will expose themselves badly, and it would be politically catastrophe for anyone.
Right.
So I don't think so that
that's a
someone
very
would
good
be-
point.
Yeah.
Sitara Aya Sahiba, if the government brings not only judicial reform package but also the accountability reform package, will your party and will opposition support it?
Well, if it is good, and why not?
No, but don't give me a hypothetical answer. Tell me whether your party.
No,
is,
we'll see if it is
You have
good and if
heard
it is
the
in the interest
judicial
of
package issue,
Pakistan. Why not? We will.
Okay. And what exactly is your party's stand on accountability? How it should be reformed?
There should be accountability across the board. If there is any lacuna, anything in the NAB, we should revisit that, and we should work on it.
Right.
Together with the government, and the opposition and the government both should sit and
Shah ji.
discuss this.
Right. Shah ji, बहुत देर कर देता हूँ मैं. You take a lot of time.
I think we should define this word across the board. It's
Okay.
a very ambiguous.
Don't take it sideways. Don't
Why are
take
you
the
taking
discussion
it
sideways.
sideways?
Tell me, why do you take so much time in bringing the laws that you want to actually get passed from the parliament?
As Senator Kakar Saab was telling you that now the policy has been formed, and in the coming session,
No, but
these bills
in
will come, and
the-
we expect the Senator Sitara Sahiba, and just like other parliamentarians, that they will definitely support us at the bill of the South Punjab, at the bill of the Gilgit-Baltistan, at the legislation bill, and particularly at the anti-corruption movement drive. And they will definitely support us, and I think their leadership will also allow them
We are
to
for
vote
the
for
South
to vote for the
Punjab.
No,
pro-people
but
policy.
she has voted according to her conscience repeatedly. It happened during the chairman Senate election also. Am I wrong?
No, according to the party, actually, I voted.
Yeah, you did.
Yes,
according to the party.
According to the party.
Yeah, but you said that at the top you supported
That,
somebody. else.
yes, I supported, my party told me I supported
Okay, so
PMLN
totally-
and then the People's Party.
You realize that with the exception of treasury bills and a couple of others, you can, and elections also, you can vote whichever way you like.
Well, no, I have to follow my party policy. I'm here.
but I'm talking about
I'm
parliamentary
representing my
code of
party.
you know.
I'm representing my party in the Senate.
Right.
So I have to follow my party policy.
Okay.
But-
And your
but-
party policy will be so in support of these reforms?
If it is in the interest of Pakistan and Khyber
Shahid,
Pakhtunkhwa, we
you are
will
saying-
definitely.
We are good hope with the Senator Saiba, and we expect that if the pro-Pakistan and the pro-people policy, they will definitely, first of all, because she's a Pakistani.
Yeah, but
and
here's the question. Here's the question for you. There has been a lot of optics, right? The event, 100 days event, and then there was talk of, then we saw Khyber Pakhtunkhwa 100 days ceremony as well. Now we are hearing about Punjab Assembly, Punjab government as well. We see a lot of optics. Is it possible that the government actually lessens the optics and accelerates the focus on legislative business?
Inshallah, you will see it in this.
Because
this
in
session.
Punjab, you have to, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, you have to introduce the local government bill as well.
Yeah.
And then here you have to go with this idea too. And it takes, the government is mulling over a lot of things.
No. Inshallah, you will see in this upcoming session, you will see the legislation on the local
What do you
bills
mean by upcoming session?
in this coming and next coming session.
It is. a
This one
session.
is
This
here.
one and coming upcoming.
So, always the next one.
No.
Okay.
But within these two, you will
I'm
find
told that we have to conclude the program. Kakar Saab, if you want to add to it this, please do. Then I have to conclude.
Well, I expect a positive energy again
Right.
from the side of the government. The serious challenges of this country, economic and on the foreign policy front, you will see a very mature and a prudent actions by the government. And I wish them all the best and hope to see it they deliver for the people of Pakistan.
Right. Senator Anwarul Haq Kakar Sahab, thank you very much for your time. Senator Sitara Aya Sahiba, thank you very much for your time as well. Zulkarnain Shah Sahab, thank you very much for your time as well. We, as you have listened to our participants, of course, these issues have to continue. When you look at the temperature that is rising in the opposition camps, you can understand that the opposition might be angry or might be planning to, go into the action mode. But when it comes to the things that matter, that are legislative business, umpteen other service delivery issues, let us hope in coming days we see the kind of service delivery that is needed, because in the end, it is always the people of Pakistan that have to gain or lose something out of these tussles and also this kind of service delivery. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching us. Take care.